All right, guys, going to be jumping in and highlighting some updates for the PrizePicks prop board. Now, if you guys enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe to the video right down there. Let's get into it. And so really the biggest updates that we have from the board previously are simply the fact that the best one that we were getting is it got bumped down. It's like minus 148 right now for under 2.5 shots on goal. So it got bumped down to 2 shots on goal. This one we did see it is much more tight for Josh. So probably not touching any NHL bets. I guess if I had to give out an NHL bet, it'd be max and really just it'd be over shots on goal, but we're really just hoping for a push of 2 shots on goal. Now, when he was with the Blackhawks, that's just not a team that had many shots on goal. So if he gets a little bit more time on ice, maybe tonight than he did in the opening night, he had about 4 less minutes than he had like the past 3 games when he was with the Blackhawks. Okay. And then for what it's worth, the last time out against this opponent, he also did have 2 shots on goal. So the over is set at minus 150 or minus 185 for 1.5 shots on. So it is great as like a push. But that's only if I had to give an NHL bet. So let's go ahead and look at the NBA bets for today. And guys, I'm going to apologize in advance if I stumble on any words or whatnot. This is like my 5th video of the day. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But looking at guys, we are still getting CJ McCollum over 2.5 3-ball attempts. Is one of the better prop bets on the day. We can see it is now down to minus 136, but still, a pretty good favorable bet there. The best one that we're actually getting is going to be Max Strauss over 1.5 threes made. And I'm very curious. And we can see this at minus 147. This is heavily favored, but he's only projected at 1.4, which honestly, not too bad. I'm actually curious as to what your guys' thoughts are on this one, because we'll pull it up. His minutes have been down lately. Hasn't really been shooting that many 3-balls. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what are your thoughts on this one? Because to me, it kind of seems like we should be betting the under, and we should be betting the under on one of these sports, hoping that he doesn't play that much. It's just a very interesting line to me, especially literally last time out against Atlanta, only played 18 minutes over 2. It just seems like a strange line. And maybe we just stay away from it because of that. I don't know. But just a strange one. And this is kind of what he's projected to get. So his projected minutes are actually lower today than they had been. So it just seems like a fishy line, right? It doesn't seem to be adding up. And then so another one that's only okay would be Bam over points, rebounds, and assists. But if we're doing this, I think we just do fantasy points at that point. So really, the next only good one that I like would be looking at Derek White over rebounds and assists. And I just want to point this out. Like, he is projected to get under it, but why is he projected to get under it? Well, it's because Jason Tatum is out tonight. And so the averages that we're pulling in this projection for are based on the season averages, not just with Jason Tatum off the court. And this is, keep mentioning this, I want to, I kind of need to find the time to do it as well, is to start adding in per 36 numbers. Because in a situation like this, where he's currently projected to actually get under, I think it would flip-flop. So if Derek White actually benefits the most with Tatum off the court and Horford and actually Robert Williams. So when those 3 are off the court, we see Derek White actually gets the highest bump in usage, about 7.8%, sees a big bump in fantasy production, about 7.6 points. So maybe there's a bet there as well. But if we look at his per 36 numbers, and that's the biggest question, is he going to get 30 minutes? Probably not. Probably going to get around 31. But he does get about 3.5 rebounds, which is slightly lower, but he gets 7 assists. So looking at it, if we can get, let's just say 6 assists and 3 rebounds, obviously that's over. So it does feel like a tight one, but I think that's why we are seeing the over favorited, and I would kind of agree with that. So that's another one in which, maybe we could force in there, but at the same time does kind of feel like we're forcing in there. It does seem like another night in which we're probably just going with fantasy points. So from there, could we do any under bets? You could. This one with Jared Allen is kind of the one that sticks out the most. Minus 130 to get under 16.5 points and assists. Projected to get 15.82. So not like a big edge, but one you could go with. Let's continue on here. Let's look at some over bets where the lines aren't matching up. And this is a very interesting one here for Damian Lillard. So really, it's a very high line. And this is another one in which it's not matching up. So I have him projected to get 40.64 points and rebounds. Average sportsbook line is favoring it at minus 120 for him to get 42. PrizePicks has it set at 41.5. One of these are wrong. Do you guys have any thought as to which one is off? Roll with it. This one I like, though. Jeremy Grant here. Minus 119 to get over 25 points and assists on average across the sportsbooks. PrizePicks has this line set at 24.5, okay? And he is slightly projected to get over that. And the thing with Grant is he has been getting a lot more minutes recently. Over these past 4 games, really since the All-Star break, 37, 38, 39, and 39 minutes. And that's really when he's been healthy as well. We look at his per 36 with Yusuf and with Anthony Simons off the court. He does get a slight bump as well. He averages about 20.4 points, about 5 rebounds, and about 3 assists. So Grant here, points and assists, if he just gets 36 minutes, which is he's projected to get, which would actually be less than he has been getting, he'd get about 20.4 points and then about 3 assists. So actually we need that number to be a little bit higher. But why would that number be a little bit higher? Maybe a little bit more minutes, but it's going to be the matchup with Detroit. Detroit is rolling out a bunch of their backups. And I'm actually pretty upset that we're not getting any Bagley props. Just like yesterday with Charles Bassey, I want to get some more props off of these backups that are stepping up into some roles. It would be nice. But yeah, Jeremy Grant, definitely not a lock and load, but is one that is kind of standing out. And then from there, let's see if there's any under bets that are good. Really only Kevin Huerter under points and rebounds. We can already see the average sportsbook line has it set at 18. PrizePicks line has it set at 18.5, and he's projected to get 15.9. So that's actually probably one of the better bets that we are getting on paper. So if you want to make that bet, by all means you can. So now let's look at some fantasy point ones. And I want to call this one out. Trey Murphy, this is a very interesting one because the last few nights, it seems like we've been getting a lot of really strong fantasy point prop bets that are about an edge of 4 or more. And really that the edge is just with the fantasy points is taking their projection minus the PrizePicks line. And this is the only one on the night in which is over 4. And I found that very interesting. So first things first, if Trey Murphy doesn't get there, I think it'll be because Herbert Jones got there. Okay. Both of them are going to step up into a bigger role. And if you look at their per 36 numbers with all the players that are out, and all the players that are out are going to be Zion, Josh Richardson, J Val looking like he's out, and that could change these bets. Okay, if he plays, could kind of ruin them, to be honest with you. And then Alvarado's out as well. Larry Nance too, but not a big deal. Herbert Jones would average 33 fantasy points per 36. Trey Murphy would average 32 fantasy points per 36. Trey Murphy did get a lot of run last game against Golden State, but only 24. He did not get the over at his current line. And then 27 against Portland, he did, but that's because he had 3 steals. I want to call out this game against the Kings, the last time out, he did dominate. Okay, really went off. And so on paper, this is the best one that we're getting. And so given a slight increase in production per 36 wise as well, it does make sense why he'd be someone that we're looking at. So we do need him to get the minutes, but it's looking like a strong one for him. And then from there, I do find this one for Clint Capella extremely interesting. And I do feel like we need to break this one down because he's only projected to get about 27 minutes, which is what he averages on the season. But last time out against Atlanta, he did get the over. And I do find it interesting. They got a new head coach, and I was kind of taking the wait and see approach to see if this was just like a one-off thing, if Clint Capella got 35 minutes just in a one-off scenario, and it might have happened. Like that might be the reason why, because the next 2 games, 25 and 25 minutes. My biggest question would be, was this because they had a back-to-back and they just limited their starters' minutes, especially him? Potentially, right? The thing is, he has gotten the over 3 straight games in a row, though. So what do we do with that, right? Like, it's tough to say. I kind of don't mind the idea of betting on this game to stay close. And actually, the over and under, I think, has went up slightly. So if that's true, then he should be a good prop bet for over fantasy points. And if we're betting him to get over fantasy points, I don't mind the idea of going with Bam over fantasy points as well. He was able to get there in the last game. And I think part of the reason why Bam was struggling a little bit to get over the fantasy points recently was simply the addition of Kevin Love, okay? Just taking up some usage, taking up some rebounds. Last game, he only played 18 minutes. And so thus we just don't have to worry about him potentially taking a rebound or 2 away from Bam, So I actually don't mind the idea of stacking those 2 together. And really the bet is just on the game staying close then at that point and them not getting into foul trouble. From there, are there any other bets that we can make? Well, let's see. And here's Bam for what it's worth. We see him popping up. And I want to talk about Cam Reddish as well. Cam Reddish is very interesting because he has been getting a lot more run recently. So we can see, like, since he's joined Portland, he's been getting more run. And I think most of that's just due to Simons being out, right? But if he continues to get a lot of run, like over 30 minutes, he should be able to get over his fantasy point prop line, which is set at 22.5. And just given the fact that he's going against Detroit as well, this should be an easy matchup. And I kind of feel like I don't want to say he's locked into getting the minutes regardless, but he should be a strong candidate to not see a decrease in the projected minutes that he's projected to get tonight, which is 32. Okay, maybe he doesn't get more than that, but it's just tough to see, if this game does blow out because Detroit's so banged up. It would be tough to see Cam Reddish not getting it. And then for what it's worth, the board is kind of telling us that Damian Lillard should be under fantasy points. And I don't know if I agree with that. Okay, he's been getting a lot of minutes. It's tough to project anyone over 36 minutes, right? He's been getting like 39. So yeah, that's for you guys to decide what you want to do with that. And I want to call this out as well. Like these two numbers for Brogdon and Derek White, they are not pulling in the consideration that Tatum is out. Derek White averages about 33 points per 36 with Tatum off the court, fantasy points per 36. So could be one that you want to use. The matchup with Cleveland is going to be the worry. And I really wish we were getting a Marvin Bagley one. I do. It's unfortunate. I did get a couple of questions about Joachim Poeltl tonight. I kind of like rolling with him. It's just really a bet on the minutes. Didn't get there, obviously, the last game against Washington. That happened to be a blessing in disguise that they set the line at 33.5. This feels right, though. And he's only projected to get slightly over this. So it's really for you guys to decide what to do with this one. And I mean, that's like kind of it for today. I wish we were getting some more props based off of the players that are out. All right, guys. So I want to call this out. Like, these are all bets that I'd be fine, like, adding on to a bet that I felt was a lock, if that makes sense. Like, just knowing that we need to get like 3 of these to hit. These are all solid ones, but they're all ones in which I wouldn't say are locks. I like the idea of stacking these two together tonight. It's a game that's projected to stay close. Obviously, I mentioned Derek White points and assists. Should be able to get over that. Just give him Jason Tatum out. Trey Murphy was the best one that we were getting on paper. And then Cam Reddish just kind of stood out to me as well. I want to get some Detroit ones. We're just not getting those yet. So, I mean, Taco Tuesday's tomorrow. Let's just not go crazy tonight, right? Let's just be controlled, have some fun, but not go crazy. Tomorrow's going to be the bankroll day, right? So good luck tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And as always, let's keep cashing.